was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm cold.
Country. If anybody doesn't know, Ukraine was given 6 F-16s. They have 6 pilots that were ready to fly, so they were gifted 6. Those 6 F-16s are primarily being used for air defense in the west of the country. They're not being used in a bomber, like a fighter bomber role or a interceptor role, taking out enemy aircraft or anything like that. They're just in the west of the country, flying around, shooting down missiles and drones. So the first story we had was the one that I reported on, and that was the Ukrainian Air Force Base in Kaminsky region, which is in western Ukraine. It was the primary base that we thought F-16s would be established at, because F-16s require a lot of logistics and very high quality airfields. In fact, we later figured out after the Ukrainians doxed themselves, that the F-16s were in the Ivano-Frankivsk region. But when the strike was going on, these strikes last hours, these planes are raised and they were flying around shooting down drones and missiles. In the middle of this, they landed at this airbase for refueling and rearmament. This will take 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes depending. And during that time, when the plane was on the ground, the Russians struck the base with multiple likely hypersonic weapons, and likely destroyed the F-16, potentially more than one F-16 on the ground, along with their primary propaganda pilot that had been in a lot of the Ukrainian propaganda about these F-16s. So that was the first story. That was the one that I chose sort of to believe because the timeline made sense, and it just kind of made sense to me. The next one was the official Ukrainian story that came out immediately. And that was that during combat operations in the F-16, the plane crashed either due to pilot error or some damage sustained either from a missile or a drone that was intercepted. And I know that might sound sort of ridiculous, but in fact, this has happened twice before in Ukraine. Ukraine has lost a MiG-29 and a MiG-27, or a Su-27 and a MiG-29, sorry, to shooting down a drone and debris hitting the plane and taking down the plane. So this is not necessarily a ridiculous statement. I didn't necessarily believe it because it sort of put a hero twist on the whole thing. You know, he died in the air. He died saving Ukrainian lives, shooting down missiles. That's how they made it sound. I was like, okay, that's the propaganda one. And then I think the Western story came out, because the Western story, the next story that the Ukrainians started pushing was that this was potentially a friendly fire incident where a Patriot air defense battery had fired upon the F-16. And this is the perfect cleanup story for this entire situation, because the F-16, an American icon, basically, of the American industrial complex, was taken down not by the Russians, was not hit at a base by the Russians. It was not destroyed by a Russian drone or an Iranian drone in the air. It was destroyed by their own air defense system because a Ukrainian made the mistake. So this is like the most perfect symbolic comment to make about this war. And it's exactly what I talk about with Ukraine just getting thrown under the bus and forgotten about. Is no, the Russians didn't hit the F-16. It was your guys' fault for shooting it down with the only weapon that could shoot it down, which was the American Patriot. It's just all too clean and too proper and too nice for me. Again, not impossible. And no matter what happened, I would say it's rather distressing that you lost an F-16 in the first month of having them in operation, either on the ground, which is horrible. Losing an airframe on the ground, especially in the west of the country, is a really bad look. losing it to a drone interaction is really bad, because that means you can't even deal with unmanned aerial vehicles like lawnmowers flying through the sky without taking down your own planes. It points to massive pilot incompetency and stuff like that. So that's another bad look. Or you have a friendly fire incident where your blue on blue target recognition isn't working, and your air defense operators are so incompetent that they think an F-16, an American airframe, looks anything like a missile, a drone, or a Russian airframe. They look entirely different on radar. They have completely different radar signatures. So if they did shoot it down, it was a massive mistake, and it was bad. And immediately after this, the commander of the Ukrainian Air Force was removed from his position by Zelensky. So why would you remove the commander of the Air Force for a mistake of a lowly air defense operator? Maybe you're just trying to put the blame on somebody and make it look like it's solved, and the West can not ask questions about it. We got rid of the problem. My opinion on this is that he was removed because of the information leak that happened at the base where these planes were being stored. That information leak and the information leak that the planes had landed at Kaminsky Airfield led to the Russian strike that likely destroyed this F-16, and I believe that's why he was fired. That's a legitimate reason to fire somebody rather than an accident, right? That doesn't make any sense. So,
yeah, because I know now the reports are coming out in the West now, and they're saying it's leaking a little bit in the I think New York Times or the Washington Post that this was not friendly fire. It was not down by friendly fire. It was not pilot error. They won't say that it was a Russian strike that took the plane out. They would just say that it was not pilot error, and they are not believing the story that it was friendly fire. I think this is the United States trying to double back and cover itself after putting out its version of the propaganda.
Well, I mean, they didn't want to deliver any of this. They didn't want to deliver these F-16s. The war was never supposed to get to this point. That's the thing, is the war was never supposed to get to 2023. The Russian was supposed to collapse. So this isn't plan A. Plan A was to get Ukraine to take the East and then join NATO as a whole country, and that would be the end of it. And then you could use Ukraine against Russia. There was never supposed to be a war. Plan B was if Russia calls your bluff and they go in, you're going to sanction them to high hell. And then plan C was, oh shit, none of that worked. What are we supposed to do? I guess we'll just keep funneling crap into the country and try to do as much damage, and hopefully the Russian government collapses or something over this long attrition battle or whatever. Didn't happen. And now, they didn't want to deliver these F-16s. I'm sure those F-16s were promised at a time where they thought they would never have to deliver them. And this war has just been drug out and continued for so long. Same goes for the Abrams that the U.S. delivered. We delivered 31 of them. It's like nothing. It's not even worth the time to train people and get logistics set up for them and stuff. But we did it because it's just a show, because we can't really deliver a lot of Abrams. Like, this is the thing, is we don't have engines. We have boneyards filled with bodies of these Abrams, but we don't produce the engines. So the engines are really the bottleneck of the Abrams program. And the U.S. needs every single engine we have for our own, military. And so it's just a common trope. And yeah, I do think it is a perfect cover up. It is the ultimate, the Russians didn't do anything, we did it to ourselves, which is just, I don't know. If you're believing that, I feel like your logic and reasoning skills don't go very deep.
Hey, Scott, man, I thank you for joining me on this platform. We got to get you back on here, man. You kick, like I told you, you kick butt, man. I really appreciate you joining, and I'm going to send you the link to the video. You can post it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, man. I thank you so much, Scott, man. Be blessed, be safe out there.
Yeah, you take care and have a great day.
All right, you too, man. Everybody, Scott gave us his hour of his time. We got to be thankful for that. I mean, Scott, you got to go to Kalibrated. This guy has maps. He's telling you how the line is moving and what's going on the battlefield. When I finally found this channel, it blew my mind because the guy, I mean, he is on point with this stuff. So you have to go to Kalibrated. and subscribe. You got to give this and go to his Patreon also. Go to Scott's Patreon.
I should have a live stream today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is in 2 hours.
Give me a shout out. Scott, be blessed, man. Thank you so much. Everybody listen. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this platform, the most powerful platform for truth, bar none. Remember that I love you if you love truth, but know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. And remember this, always do right to others, not because others are watching, but because it's the right thing to do. Because even when no one else is watching, God is watching. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. We're out of here. Peace.